Good morning. Welcome to the Alexandria Museum of Art's presentation of the Levy Tai Chi School's morning Qigong. It is Saturday, January 23rd. We are, of course, here in the beautiful Alexandria Museum of Art, downtown, 2nd and Murray Street, on 3rd floor gallery, and it is a gloomy day outside, and it's good to be inside today. And I have a little dangly back here. Apropos of nothing. I want to say very quickly, break a leg to Georgia Fox. If you know Georgia, you probably know that Georgia is a very accomplished actress in the local community theater movement. She's acted on stage in a very large number of productions, short form, long form plays, all kinds of things. She's very accomplished, very, very skilled, and also a very skilled seamstress behind the scenes making costumes, and she is auditioning this morning. So Georgia, knock 'em dead. I know you can do this. We are here, however, in the museum, sans Georgia, unfortunately, this morning, and I may be alone today. I'm not sure. Weather may have kept people away today, which is fine. So we have the live feed, right? To play the Baduan Gin, the 8 Silken Changes form. We do this for a variety of purposes, mainly mindfulness and focus. It brings a great sense of calm. It brings certain physical benefits, which are, of course, secondary to the intent of Qigong. Qigong is primarily a mindfulness form. Something I think I may have mentioned just recently here, and I'm going to mention it again. I think it's very interesting. I practice and teach Qigong and Tai Chi. And I often tell people, especially my new students in either form, that Qigong and Tai Chi go very nicely hand in hand. Qigong teaches you how to breathe and move through Tai Chi. The interesting thing, however, is that Tai Chi is actually a fighting form. In Chinese, it's loosely translated, Tai Chi Chuan is translated as Supreme Ultimate Fist or Supreme Ultimate Boxing. It's actually a Kung Fu form, a fighting form, which is not really used for fighting anymore, but it does a great job at training strength and balance. Qigong is a Taoist philosophy, a philosophy of movement, and the Tao, and I am no scholar, I assure you, the Tao puts forth the idea of just enough effort in all things. And I love that because Qigong requires, if done properly, just enough effort. It doesn't need a huge amount of effort. We're not trying to max a deadlift, or we're not trying to run a marathon, we're not trying to perform some endurance feat or a feat of strength. This is simply a matter of just enough effort to move you through the form. I translate that for my beginners again as not using muscle strain to move yourself around, not trying to force yourself low or very high into postures, not trying to exceed your physical limits in any way. We don't need to exceed our limits. We're trying to hone them. We're practicing balance, and we're practicing strength. So as you go through the form, remember, you don't need to strain your way through the form. You don't need to fight your way through the form. I often made the joke, good morning, Shonu. I often made the joke that this is not isometrics. If you remember isometrics from the 80s, where you would pull against your own muscles as a means of building up strength and so forth. We're not fighting ourselves in the form. We're simply moving. It doesn't take a serious physical effort other than to hold yourself upright in a crouch and to move through the air slowly and carefully. So as you go through the form today, think about that just enough philosophy. You want to move into the form, certainly. You want to maintain your flow and your pace, certainly. But you don't need to use excessive strength or excessive prowess or anything in excess. We need to move carefully, slowly, and relaxed. That's why I often say go to your comfort level. We're not trying to push ourselves into injury or physical gain. There's no pain, no gain philosophy here. We don't play that. So as you go through the form, keep that in mind. The philosophy of just enough effort to move you through the form. Relax, let your mind focus on your breathing. Remember, be gentle with yourself, be compassionate with yourself. If you find your mind wandering, and it will, don't fret it. It's going to happen. Bring your mind back carefully, compassionately, and start again. And we do this over and over again. So I'm going to adjust this camera a little tiny bit. And then we are going to start with our first sound. Deep breath. Lifting the heavens. stars fall to earth. Ti sits on his throne. Breathe in. And lastly, stamp the earth. One more. All right. There we are. As easy as that. I want to say something that you might want to mark your calendar for. This is something I haven't said before. I don't think. If I have, it's been a long time. It's something I tell my Tai Chi students. Tai Chi it's much more involved with ambulation, with moving across the floor in different directions. and is a real balance challenge. And we learn that, of course, in the form, but it can be very difficult, especially changing from form to form, or from posture to posture, I'm sorry, and trying to maintain that balance. And of course, that's what you're training for. But in Qigong, we are still transitioning our center of mass side to side, forward, backward, so forth. And if you noticed, I think on about number 6 of the Stamp the Earth, I almost did a nosedive there, got a little off balance. And I've never really thought to mention this to my Qigong students, but if you find yourself off balance or uncertain of your footing, and I will say this, it's difficult to do, but if you find yourself off balance, pause a moment. Now I realize we talk a lot about flow and continuing motion and staying in motion once you begin starting with a form, and to stay in that flow and that rhythm. And our bodies themselves and our minds push us in that direction anyway. We want to stay in that rhythm once we begin one. But if you're in the form and you find yourself getting off balance, if your footing is wrong, if your knee is bothering you, if something's going on, don't be afraid to stop that rhythm. Don't be afraid to stop the flow for a moment. Find your balance. Find that sweet spot again and return to it. We mentioned before, I think, in passing, especially in things like draw a bow and in lion wags its tail, where we're shifting a lot and our feet are moving in and out, our heels will work themselves out and you'll get wider and wider in your posture until it begins to get a little dangerous, a little uncomfortable. But apply that to everything. Don't be afraid to stop. It's not a requirement that you stay on a hard and fast rhythm to this thing. It's, of course, better for you, but I would dare say that falling or injuring yourself is going to take you out of the meditative space a lot faster than it will if you simply pause for a moment, find your balance, maybe take a deep breath and recenter, and continue with Stamp the Earth or whatever you're doing. I think Stamp the Earth is probably the one where it occurs the most because it's a very, very fine balanced exercise up on the balls of your toes and bouncing down. And of course we get into fast rhythm usually with that one because we enjoy that adrenaline rush of bouncing and breathing and bouncing and breathing and bouncing. And we get a little fast to that, so we tend to get off balance, I think, more often in that one than anything. But anywhere in the form, if you find yourself uncomfortable, if you find yourself off balance, if you find yourself unsure of your footing, don't be afraid to stop. And it is difficult. It takes practice, like anything worthwhile. It takes practice to allow yourself to stop. But stop for a moment. Like I say, catch your breath, get your center back, get your footing back again, or whatever you need to do. Catch yourself from a fall, and then resume again. Never be afraid to stop. It's not going to hurt anything. Like I say, I would rather you out of the meditative space with less impact, and no pun intended, and shorter by simply changing your stance than falling or hurting yourself. That will definitely ruin your meditative state. Don't be afraid. Not going to hurt anything. It is difficult to do. Trust me, I've taught many students, and I tell them time and again, don't be afraid to stop and find your balance and resume again. I'll understand that. And it's hard to get to our heads. And once you've learned this flow, especially that of Tai Chi, where you're going for about 7 minutes straight, it's hard to stop, but don't be afraid to stop. Not going to hurt anything. All right. I will see you Monday morning, 8 a.m. here on the live feed, and then shortly thereafter on YouTube. We will be back here again next Saturday, 10:30 Central Time. Alexandria Museum of Art, our gracious sponsors and hosts. Third floor gallery, masked and distanced. You've probably heard Shonu come in my mid-spiel. He was a good 25 feet from me over there. So we have ample space here in the museum, in the gallery, to distance ourselves very well. And we do wear masks. It's required in the museum, and they do enforce that. So very safe place. Beginners welcome, advanced folks welcome. Again, Georgia, break a leg in your audition today. Watch for her on the stage again. She is a marvel on the stage. Thank you for joining me, as always. We had a quiet moment, just showing what I this morning. You've had bigger classes, had smaller classes. That's okay. You're still here with me, either live or eventually. It's good to have you along. It's good to know you're out there. Thank you for supporting us in this endeavor. It is deeply appreciated. And I will see you Monday. Until then, please stay safe and be well.